how-to videos about how to make your own DIY drawer system. A bunch of those guys are much better than me at woodworking and have more detailed how-tos about what it is that they design, and so I want to thank them because I used a lot of their videos as help and inspiration on coming up with my design. Now this is not a how-to video. It's just going to be footage of me building my drawer system and then getting it installed in my 4Runner. If anybody does have questions, I will just answer them in the comments.
Now, I don't have the widest array of woodworking tools, but here's a layout of what I'm going to use. There are obviously some better options out there, such as having a track saw, or maybe a miter saw. These aren't things that I've got, and so I'm going to make do with what I do have. For example, because I don't have a track saw, I'm just going to be using a 4.5 to 5 foot piece of 1x3 and 2 clamps to hold it down and run my circular saw along the line. So with that said, what I do have and what I will be using is a circular saw, an impact drill, hand clamped, 90-degree clamps. I have a square to mark off my cut lines. I have a pocket hole cutting tool, wood glue, measuring tape, pencil, and a level. And in my opinion, this is more than enough to get this job done at the DIY level.
Okay, so now that I'm working on the editing, I just realized I left out quite a bit of information. So for starters, I'm building this drawer system in 2 pieces, one left, one right. They both mirror each other. The reason I did this is so that they are easier to get in and out of the truck, because I want to maximize the surface area of the top board, which is going to be used as a bed base, because we sleep in our vehicle. We do not have a rooftop tent. And because this is also going to be used as a base for a bed, I'm building it out of 3/4 inch plywood to make sure that it's as solid as can be.
Okay, so if you're wondering why I did a double thickness at the bottom, the rear of the 5th Gen 4Runner has a carpeted cover on the compartment in the back, and the plastics on the side that cover the rear wheel arches, sits up about, I don't know, 3/4 of an inch, a little bit higher, and I wanted to maximize the width of the drawers. So as you can see on the drawing here, the base is a little bit narrower. So that's what I've done so that I can get as much width as possible out of where the drawers will actually mount. Now, you'll notice in this drawing, there's also a cutout in the middle. That's simply because the base doesn't actually need to have that much wood. I just wanted to make sure that it was structurally sound. I'm going to take the middle out of it just to save, maybe 5 to 10 pounds out of each drawer, make it easier to get it in and out of the truck.
Now, as I'm cutting out the middle of the base, I'm sure someone is going to ask on why I didn't just put 2 cross sections, and it's simply because I wanted the base to be one entire piece around to keep that structural strength. I didn't want to take any risks with multiple pieces possibly shifting during the off-roading. And that middle section that you just saw me cut out ended up weighing in at just under 8 pounds. Once the base was completed, we moved on to building the 2 drawers, which were also made out of 3/4 inch plywood for the sides, but we only used 1/2 inch plywood for the bottom of the drawer.
This will be perfect to make the faces that are going to go like...
That was supposed to be for the bottom.
This is the 2 bottoms.
Okay.
This I'll be able to cut down to make the face
Oh,
cover.
okay.
the drawer slides, I went with 2 sets of 32-inch slides, one locking, one traditional. The locking set is rated for 300 pounds, whereas the standard set is rated at 250, so an estimate of 275 pounds per drawer. Realistically, I'm never going to have that much stuff in there.
Yeah, much smoother. Yeah.
Okey-dokey. That's good.
Are you happy?
So far so good. This we can get rid of. So all that is remaining is the faces.
Now that the units have been built and the carpenter's glue has had time to dry, it's time to put our covering on it, and I opted to go for speaker box carpeting. I picked this up from crutchfield.ca, and it's available in charcoal, light gray, or black, and I went with the charcoal option. Now this carpet is not self-adhesive, so you do need to spray some adhesive down to get it to stay on the structure. I was using 3M Super 77 all-purpose glue. While you can install this with bare hands, I highly recommend a squeegee to make sure that you can get all of the air pockets and wrinkles out.
One corner needs to stretch.
Lastly, even though I had everything glued down, I made sure to get the edges stapled in just for an added security.
Huh?
You weren't recording?
Yeah, I was. But you didn't notice. I was a portrait.
Okay, I need you to grab these.
handle. We're just going to drop it in place.
You see? There we go. Ladies on got it. There we go.
I don't think it could fit any more like it was.
Now I'm sure you're wondering why there is a cutout in each of the two sections of the top board, and that's to allow our front section of our bed base to clamp into the rear sections kind of like a puzzle piece, which is a carryover from our previous platform, which did not have a drawer system in it. I think the project turned out looking great for my first attempt, and I can't wait to make use of them on our first camping trip of 2026.